Good morning, students. I welcome you all for the online class of business studies. Today, we will be going to start the new chapter, that is private, public, and global enterprise. In this chapter, we will be going to learn the mainly about the public type of organizations, how many are there, what way the government is taking over them, which government is ruling over which type of government companies, that we will be going to learn in this chapter. As in the previous chapter, we have learned the private sector enterprises, like for example sole proprietorship, joint sector, and joint undivided family business, partnership firm likewise. And now we will be going to learn the public companies, how many types are there. You can see in the index role of public sector versus private sector, then types of public sector enterprises. There are basically three: department undertaking, public corporation, government company. Then departmental undertakings, meaning, features, merits, demerits, suitability. Public corporation, its meanings, features, merits, and demerits, suitability. Government companies, then the same thing we will be going to learn for that. Difference between the three companies, changing role of public sector, and then difference between private and public. Global enterprise, multinational companies we will be going to learn in this chapter. The introduction about multinational companies, the joint venture companies, all that we will be learning from private sector point of views. Rest all will be the government companies. So let us proceed with the chapter with the introduction. As you already introduced with the private sector and public sector enterprises, in this chapter also we will be going with that. We shall discuss the role, forms, and demerits of public sector reforms enterprises. Role of private sector versus public sector since independence. Immediately after independence, Government of India nationalized many enterprises and also established many new undertakings. The Industrial Policy Resolution of 1948 and 1956 assigned dominant role of public sector enterprises. Many areas of business were reserved for public sector. The entry of private sector was restricted in the form of licensing limits on expansion, etc. So that point of view, if we will see, the public sector role was very limited. Private sector role was more. But in the beginning 1956, after independence, the government find to be more a role of the public sector. If it will be going to the private sector, then private sector can misutilize the powers. Because of that, many companies were reserved for the public sector. There were restrictions on the private sector in many of the fields. There were restrictions on the growth of the private sector, and they also contribute in the economic development of the country. In spite of giving priority to public sector, this sector could not do much for the economic development of the country. That is why in 1991, which sector not done anything? What the policy government taken, that was the licensing of every company, those who was existing and those who will be newly running. That licensing was totally stopped. Why? Because government find in 1991, if this way the government will be working, then there will be no economic development of our country. So to make the economic situation good, in 1991 new economic policy 1991 was introduced. That was a policy of liberalization, privatization, and globalization. Under this policy, the private sector was assigned an important role. Many entry barriers on private sector were removed. The industrial licensing was abolished except in areas related to security and strategic concern. The areas reserved for public sector were reduced. The limit of expansion was raised by amending Monopoly and Restrictive Trade Practices Act. Due to these changes, there is tremendous improvement in the economic development of our country. And from 1991, our economic progress has been started up. And now you can see how much we have made the economic development in our country under the leadership of many leaders. But the business environment has undergone tremendous changes. Now there is more open and competitive environment between private sector and public sector. Forms and types of public sector enterprises. When we talk, public sector organizations are formed in three different forms. Very first is departmental undertaking, second is public corporation, statutory corporations, and the third is government company. When we go with the departmental undertaking, the first type of organization which is taken by the government, this is the oldest form of public sector enterprise. Student, the departmental undertaking is considered as one of the departments of government. It has no separate existence than the government. Means the name of the company itself is of the government. It functions under the overall control of one ministry of corporate department of government. It has been passed through the parliament. For example, railways, defense, post and telegraph, broadcasting, telephone services, etc. This type of department was taken by the government. Like railway, the whole department of railway will be of the government. Defense, the whole control over the defense of the country will be of the government. That type of department undertaking is of the government is known as departmental undertaking. The main characteristics of departmental undertakings are they operate under the overall control of one of the ministries of central state government. They are a part of government only. There is no separate entity. It is in the from the name itself. It is can be known it is of the government. There are finance from the annual budget of the government. The revenues of departmental undertakings are deposited in the treasury of government. The staff of departmental undertakings are civil servants and are recruited and compensated as per the rules of civil servant. Examination conducted for the appointment of the people are through the written exam and the advertisement made by the government through various newspapers or online services. And the people who want to apply for the post, they will fill and the written examination will be conducted to make the selection. They are under the direct control of departmental head who is accountable to the concerned ministers. They can be sued in the same manner as one file a suit against the government. Merits, advantages of departmental undertaking. When we talk students, there are various merits of departmental undertaking. Very first is easy formation. Easy formation, when we take, it is very easy to form a departmental undertaking, has no registration is compulsory. Effective control, when we say the departmental undertaking is having very effective control, because here experts are hired by the central level. The control in departmental undertaking is very effective as it is direct and centralized. Optimum utilization of fund. There is proper utilization of funds as financial matters are subject to ministerial sanction, budget, accounting and audit control. Accountability, students, there is direct parliamentary control over the department. The performance of departmental undertaking can be discussed in parliament. So there is public accountability, means whatever budget they are taking, sanctioning, and after that whatever work they did with the money, that they have to be shown with the departmental undertaking. Public revenue, the revenue which is earned by the departmental undertaking is deposited in the treasury of the government. So this undertaking helps to increase the government revenue. Secrecy, the activities related performance of the departmental undertakings can be highly secret, as government can avoid disclosure on the plea of public interest. Due to secrecy, only the most sensitive area, that is defense, is operating as a departmental undertaking. When we talk about the merit, students, disadvantages of departmental undertaking, there are various disadvantages of departmental undertaking. The main drawbacks of departmental undertaking are as follows. Inflexibility, the departmental undertaking works under the strict parliamentary control of the government. There is too much interference of the government ministers and top officials in every matter of the business. It is treated as one of the government officers. This reduces the flexibility and efficiency of the undertaking, because everything has to be shown up in the to the government. Lack of motivation, here whatever effort is put for that, for matching with the efforts, reward is not given. The department undertaking has no power to utilize the revenue, as these are deposited in the treasury. There is no incentive to maximize the profit. There is no direct relation between the efforts and the reward. Here promotions doesn't given by the efforts of the people. Here promotion is given on the basis of seniority, whether the person is doing or not done. But if he is sitting in the top level and so promotion is there, the promotion will be given to the person, and not on the basis of effort. So these make the people to not to work, not to put their efforts more as per the salary and the promotion level. So employees are not motivated to perform to their best ability. Lack of financial autonomy, the departmental undertakings cannot plan long-term investment projects, as they are subject to budgetary control of government. They are not allowed to use their own revenue freely, as these have to be deposited in the treasury. It has no independence or freedom of utilizing funds in its own way, because every budget whatever is passed, it is to be shown to the government. So department undertaking cannot plan long-term investment projects. They cannot, because they have to prove all the things, whatever money they are taking, whatever revenue they are earning, they have to show it in, they have to publish it. Inefficient management. The department undertakings are managed by the government officials. These officials are not highly or overburdened with the paperwork. They spend maximum time to answer the queries from parliament or ministry. That way, if we are seeing their efficiency toward the management decisions are lacking, because they are just busy in the paperwork, which makes them not to which lacks the creativity related to management of the organization. There can be transferred anytime. As a result, they have less sense of responsibility and efficiency. Red tapeism and bureaucracy. When we talk red tapeism, here comes the paperwork. Anything they want to be do in their organization, for that they have to write an application and pass it to the higher authority, and then higher authority will pass to the top level. This way time is taken and the decision to be taken is very slow. So red tape is a bureaucracy, therefore refers to delay in decision due to too many formalities. The decision in department are undertaken and delayed due to administrative formalities, paperwork, procedures, etc. Innovations, bold approach, immediate action, which are so essential for the growth of an enterprise, have no place in the departmental undertaking. Suitability. The departmental undertaking is suitable in the following cases: where utmost secrecy is required, like defense; where government control is necessary, like broadcasting services, where any type of wrong thing cannot be shown or published; where huge investment is involved, example aircraft, iron and steel, etc. Undertaking is a source of revenue, example railways. That way the department undertaking is suitable. Public cooperation, statutory cooperation. This is the second type of public sector organization, student. You can see in the picture Reserve Bank of India, State Bank of India. These are coming in the public cooperation. Public cooperation is a body corporate formed by a special act of parliament or by the central or the state government legislature. It is fully financed by the government. Its powers, objects, limitation, etc. also decided by the government and the act or by the act of legislature. As it is formed through the passing of a resolution through the parliament, it is also known as statutory corporation. For example, Indian Airlines, Air India, State Bank of India, Life Insurance Corporation of India, Food Corporation of India, Oil and Natural Gas Corporation, etc. are the example of public corporation. Features of public corporation, student. The main characteristics of public corporation are: it is created by the act of parliament or central or state legislature. The powers, objectives and limitations of public corporation are defined in the act itself. It operates under the total control of central or state government. It is a separate legal entity. Its name is different from the government. It gets incorporated automatically when act is passed in the parliament. It is managed by the board of directors, who are nominated by the government, not by the people, but by the government. The public corporation has its own rules of recruitment and remuneration for its staff and employees. It enjoys administrative autonomy, freedom, as it is relatively free from political interference. The main motive of public corporation is service to general public, means the main motive is welfare of the society. Administrative autonomy is relatively free from political interference. This point is somewhat good, as it is a feature, so it will be coming. It is accountable to parliament or state legislature for its operation. It has to submit its annual report on its working. The accounts of public corporation are generally audited by the Comptroller and Auditor General. When we talk about the advantages of public corporation, student, the main advantages of public corporation are as follows. Administrative autonomy means here administration freedom is given, though it is a central or state corporation, but freedom to take administer the organization is given to the its leaders. So a public corporation is able to manage its affairs independently and flexibility. Quick decision. A public corporation is relatively free from red tapeism, as there is less file work and less formalities to be completed before taking decisions. Service motive. The main motive of activities of public corporation are discussed in parliament. This ensure protection of public interest, means welfare of the people. For that the public corporation is set up in the by the act of parliament. Efficient staff. The public corporation can have their own rules and regulations regarding remuneration and recruitment of employees. They can conduct their own written exam for the appointment of the candidates. It can provide better facilities and attractive terms of services to staff to secure efficient working from its staff. Professional management. The board of directors consists of business experts and also the representative of various groups such as labor, consumers nominated by the government. So there is a professional management in the public corporation, as many experts are hired by the government for the smooth working of the business. Demerits, when we talk student about the public corporation, here also though it is written less red tabism is less, but still paperwork is there. Autonomy of paper only, freedom is only on the paper. They have to show each and every transaction in the paper. The autonomy and flexibility of public corporation is only for namesake. Particularly ministers, government officials and political parties often interfere with the working of this corporation. Lack of initiative. Public corporations do not have to face any competition and are not guided by the profit motive, and because of that, people working in this public corporation are not motivated to work more. So the employees doesn't take initiative as their job is fixed, their promotion is fixed. So losses of public corporation are made good by the government itself. There is a structure. The structure of the departmental undertaking is the objects and powers of the public corporation are defined by the government, by the act itself. So they are fixed. The people working in the organization, they have to go with the things which is mentioned in the act. They cannot make any changes related to the act. To the functioning of the work of the organization, as it is compelled that they have to work according to what is mentioned in the act. Amending the act is a time consuming and complicated task. Unfair practices. The government board of a public corporation may indulge in unfair practices. It may charge unduly highly price to cover up inefficiency. Suitability. The public corporation is suitable in the following terms: where undertakings require monopoly powers, where undertakings require special powers defined by the act or statute, where undertakings require regular grant from the government, where the undertaking requires appropriate combination of public accountability and operational autonomy. So this was for today's topic, student. I hope the public corporation and the department undertaking you have understood. In the next class, I will be going to explain you the government company and the multinational companies. Thank you for today's class. Have a nice day.